Hi everybody, and welcome to our first video on the assignment review worksheet. I'm going to do this, we're going to go through this worksheet in several tutorial videos and sort of piece it together to make it easier to follow along. So on our first tab, forecast, some of you may have done this in class, but I'm going to review it again for everyone. So we've got our previous year sales here by month, and we want to create 4 financial models for that. Our first one is a 2-month moving average, which is essentially you're just calculating the average sales of the previous 2 months for your forecast. So with that, we will start in March. That will be the first month that we're going to forecast. We're going to get the average of January and February sales. Just type in equals average, and then we can just highlight January and February and close parentheses, and that's your formula. Okay, average equals B10 to C10. We'll select tab and then highlight the cell again and use our fill handle here at the bottom right hand corner and drag that formula all the way across. So in December here, we should see an average of K10 to L10. If we look up here in the formula bar, that's exactly what we're seeing. So we're picking up the average of October and November. Okay, so that's that one out of the way. Our 4-month moving average is going to pick up the average of the sales for the 4 periods before our first forecast. So we're going to want to start this in May because we're going to pick up the average of January through to April. Same formula applies here. Equals average. We didn't want that. Okay. And there we go. Close the brackets. And we'll drag this across. Okay, so those are the 2 easy ones. Next, we have the exponential moving average. So this formula again uses or puts more weight, if you will, on the most recent data. So the first thing we need to do is we need to calculate our EMA weighting factor, okay, which is simply 2 over n plus 1. Which essentially means we want to take 2 divided by the total number of periods plus 1. So in this example, we'll just equals 2 divided by 13. We have 12 months, we're going to add 1 more there. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to take this down to 3 decimal places. We've got 4 here. So if you go up here near the top of your worksheet, under the numbers section, this little button right here, the little blue arrow to the right, each time you click this, it will decrease a decimal place by 1. So we select that once, and now we're down to 0.154, which is what we want. So our first forecast for the EMA will be in the 2nd period, and quite simply, it's going to be this forecast will be the actual sales of our previous period. So we can put equals, click on January's previous sales, tab, and we've got what we need. Okay. Now the formula to calculate the forecast for the remaining periods, okay, is simply equals, and we're going to take the previous period, okay, plus we're going to select our weight factor, and we want to make this an absolute cell reference. So if we go up to our formula bar here, what we want to do is we want to put a $sign before and after the C, okay. At this point, what we want to do is we want to multiply this in parentheses our prior period actual sales, which were February 2019 sales, minus, in the same column, our previous month forecast, which we put down here, and close bracket. So here's this formula again, so you can take a look at it. So we're taking the previous month's forecast plus the EMA weighting factor that we created an absolute cell for, and then we're going to multiply that by the previous month's historic sales minus the previous month's forecast, and we will hit tab, and then once again we'll just highlight that cell, use our fill handle, and drag it all the way across, and this is what we should have. Okay, so if we take a look at December, we have got L13, which is what we want, our previous month forecast. This here, okay, plus again, because we made an absolute cell reference, it locked in on C5 times L, column L, our previous sales minus our previous forecast. So we're good there. Now, what we want to do here for the linear is we need to solve for X and Y values. Okay, so we can do that simply by creating a chart showing the number of sales and the number of periods. Excuse me. Now, here's how we're going to select those ranges. These are called non-adjacent cells because we want items in row 8 and items in row 10. So first we're going to click on B8, these period numbers, and we're going to slide over to 12. We've got those highlighted. Now we're going to hold down our control key and we're going to select our January sales, column 10. We'll drag this over. Okay, so this is what you want highlighted. You want periods 1 through 12 highlighted here, and then you want the historic sales highlighted from January through to December. Once you've got that, you can go into Insert, and we want a line chart. Okay, just this one here will do, and we'll select our line chart. Okay, once we've got our chart, what we're going to want to do is this is our data line here. We just want to click on that just to highlight these data points here, because this will allow us to go in and pull our X and Y values. So we use the chart elements, and we'll move down here to trend line. Select that button, and when this button here, this menu pops up, go down to the bottom where it says More Options. We will select More Options. And now you'll get the Format Trend Line menu appear. And we want to go down to the second to the last item at the bottom where it says Display Equation on Chart. This is what we want. So we'll put a check mark here. Got it. Okay, we can close that now. And what I like to do is just sort of drag this up to where I can see it. So we can see we have a Y value of negative 910.23 and an X value of 97137. Okay, so we can go back up to the top of our sheet. Oh, we can actually move this out of the way. Here we go. So we'll put in our Y value right here. Okay, and then we'll put in our X value here. 97137. Okay, just double check your numbers, make sure you've got those right. 910, 97137. Great. So once we have that, we can just simply delete our chart and we're all set to go. So with our linear forecast, we're going to start right in January in the first period. And the formula will be equals, and we're going to put the first part of the formula in parentheses. So open parentheses. And here we want to take our period number, not our sales, our actual period number in row 8 for January. And we want to multiply that by our Y value that we found from our chart here. Okay, now this Y value, H5, we're going to want to make that an absolute cell value. So you can, if F4 isn't working, excuse me, on your keyboard on your computer to make that an absolute cell reference, you can just go up here to the formula bar, put in a $sign before and after the H, okay, close parenthesis. So once we've got that, then it'll be plus our X value over here in J5. And same thing, guys, you want to go in here, we want to, on J5, we want to make that an absolute cell reference. So we're going to put a $sign in front and behind. Okay, so once again, here is the formula we want to use. Equals in brackets, we want to take B8, our period number, and multiply that by our Y value, that in H5 that we've made an absolute cell reference, plus our X value in J. Okay, and again, that's an absolute cell reference. We hit Tab. Now we can select that, and we'll drag it across. And we've got our formulas here. Okay, so December, I always like to check my last values to make sure my formula came across properly. So I've got M8 up here if you look in your formula bar right here. We have M8, which is our period number here, 12, great. times H5, okay, that stayed locked, plus J5, so we're all set. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here so these videos don't run on in too great of length. And in the next part to this video series, we're going to go through and we're going to determine and calculate the variances between all these forecasts.